Hi, everyone. Welcome back to A Community for All of Us. We are your hosts. I'm your host, Derek, with Nikki, my beautiful wife co host, my best friend, Harold. And tonight, we're going to be talking to y'all about what makes a toy great. Well, this would be a great conversation, especially since we all love action figures and toys and everything. And Harold was telling us that it was a happy what day is it today, Harold?
Happy Mario Day.
Nice. So for those that don't know, explain to them how is it Happy Mario Day and stuff like that while we get everything situated and started.
Well, when you have MAR and then 10 for the date, it looks like it spells Mario. So the 10 looks like an I and a O. So, Mario
That's
Day.
that is so cool. It does. It does. Uh, y'all were talking about it. I heard something about it last year. I wasn't too sure about whole ins and outs with it. So it's it's so cool. It's kind of like May the 4th.
Yeah.
Uh, which is my father-in-law's birthday. So um he's always a force baby. He's a force to be reckoned with
Mm.
sometimes.
The only
So
thing I do know about Mario Day, as it's come to be known as, is that's when all the Mario stuff now for Nintendo, the Nintendo eShop, that's when they put all their stuff that's Mario themed on sale.
that's so cool. I love Mario. I remember when the original Mario came out,
Hmm.
and it was, the 16 gigabyte. Or was that 8 gigabyte? I
You
think it was
mean
eight
the 8-bit?
8 bit. I say gigabyte, 8 bit. Came out, and that was completely different from your Atari. It was
Hmm.
like, oh my word. So I was on a show this past Sunday called The Forge. They have a Facebook page, and check them out. Really good guys, good friends of mine, Jimmy and Billy. We were talking about Hasbro and some of the things that I know about Hasbro and how things work within that. And we talked about that. But one of the guys that comes to our show here regularly, which is Quentin, was also there. So I thought it was really cool that, we're starting to see the love going both ways. And he has been supporter. I think he's now above 100 subscribers on his channel the last time I looked. So I
Sweet.
thought that was really cool. So when he comes in, I want to make sure we congratulate him on that and being a regular. I am looking. I'm gonna reach out to one person that used to be co-host with me. There he is, 128 exactly. We were just talking about that. I saw that you were way over it, and I wanted to say congratulations. It was great seeing you on the forge. It was great seeing that you're now over that much of 128. I was like, wow, that is awesome,
Yeah,
awesome. So I wanted to give you,
congratulations.
wanted to make sure we gave you a shout out. That's so cool. I am going to try to reach out to someone that was the original co-host to the show, A Community for All of Us, and I'm thinking about maybe having him come on and see, trying to work out when a good time is. It's been like two ships sailing in the wind. We kind of keep missing each other through messaging. So, but that is Lord Master Starscream. I'm thinking about reaching out to him, have him come on, see, talk about what he has been doing, and share some stuff that he has been doing and having. But tonight we're going to be talking about something I think we all love, which is toys. And I thought that the thing that we would cover is going to be talking about the lore, um, the collectability side of it, the nostalgia side of it, and then we're going to talk about the pricing side of it. Because I think as collectors and adult collectors, a lot of times we kind of forget about the pricings, to a level. We kind of like justify pricing sometimes because it's a lore or a thing that we really love. So we justify that price increase and buying that figure for that price increase because it's something we love. But something that I have been hearing a lot of grumbling about lately, which I thought would be us talking about this, is pricing of the figures. And when does it become too much? And when is it that a company you feel is taking advantage of you, or when is it that you feel like the company isn't giving you enough for what you want? And I also want to talk about the positive side of collecting and talking about the positive side of buying figures and what it does for you. So, to start us off tonight, I think Nikki, myself, Harold has plenty of figures behind him. So I figured that we would kind of talk about this to start off with. I am going to first ask y'all questions about what y'all like. I've got a slew of figures that I'm going to be pulling up and showing off and just looking at and talking about them in a minute. But to start off, I'll start off with ladies first. What is it that you look at when it comes to collecting and action figures and stuff? What is it that you look at that makes sure you love it so much?
They had just got off the bus and got buckled up when she called.
I think we got some reverb. Do you hear the extra sound?
I do. I don't know where.
Then when we got back to their house, Kennedy was.
I hear talk.
Oh, that's my wife. She's on the phone with one of her relatives.
Okay.
Her aunt just passed away today.
Oh,
She
no.
has not been doing great for quite a while. And so today's been kind of hard for her.
I'm so sorry. I'm
I
sorry
mean,
for that.
we knew it was coming, and my wife says her aunt hasn't been herself in years, not since her uncle died, and even less so since my wife's mom died. So that's her sister, and it's
I hate
not.
that.
Yeah,
I hate that. I really hate that. We'll tell her that we're very, very sorry.
we'll
Very
do.
sorry.
We'll do.
Plus, it looked like also I had a video that was going on in the background that I didn't realize was going, so I cut that off too. So that could have also been what you were hearing.
So what were you were you asking me something, Derek?
Yeah, I was going to start off with you, and I was going to go
Okay.
to here. I was going to do ladies first. First of all, before you pull out your figures,
Okay.
kind of give us a rundown. What is it that do you collect? Why do you collect? And what makes you want to keep collecting? So, first of all, do you collect anything that the audience doesn't know, or anything that you buy personally that you see that you collect? Do you is there something that stands out?
I've been buying a lot of the wrestling figures right now because I really like wrestling. I don't know, there's something about having a figure of a real human that is just very interesting to me. And so like even when I found like the Sting figure from Doom, from Dune, I was like, that's really cool because he's like a music artist, but
This
he
is
was
one of
in
my
the
favorite artists.
show, and they made this toy. So I have him. He's scattered somewhere. I don't know who he is. And I have
He's
a
in
David.
he's in the room.
Oh, is he? Did we
Yeah,
find the David Hasselhoff figure yet?
David Hasselhoff has been found. He's in the box in the room that has to come out
I
with the
want
rest
to
of
put
the
them
GI
two
Joes.
together.
All right.
And then like the wrestling ones I get
Well, you got The Rock
because
and you got Bruce Willis from GI Joe that we
that's
can't find that
right.
box.
Yeah, we'll look for him. And then like, and then I really liked this movie, and I bought her. So I pulled out. I don't have a
Okay.
lot of
Let me make you
Marvel
bigger.
figures, but this is from the Love and Thunder, I think it was called.
Thor Ragnarok.
The Thor
Thor
Ragnarok, and that
Ragnarok.
was the girl. And so I really
Yep.
liked her character in that. So I actually got one of her loose. I didn't want her in the box, so I got her loose. And then like I was at a toy show. I knew it was a comic book show, and Derek at the time was not taking his figures out because he has OCD, and so for a long time, I would just go hunting for figures that were loose, that were just hanging out, and so I found this really cool like Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing.
And unfortunately, his little arms
Thing.
broke.
Da,
But it would come attached
Hey, E-Man.
detached anyway, so that's okay. And then
Hey, E-Man.
he has some roses with him, but and he glows in the dark. But I would just buy things because I liked them. Like I'm not necessarily a Swamp Thing fan. I am, but it's not like. But I love the figure itself, so that's why I pulled him out. Is because
Yes.
it didn't have to do with just like in the movie. It had to do with just like I like the sculpt. I like the idea. And this hand, he has a regular hand, but I like the rose hand. He was giving flowers to his girl. And so, and he glows in the dark too. And so sometimes I just buy figures just I like the figure. And so that was one of these. Derek loves him.
Yeah, he glows in the dark. I love it. Says, E-Man, welcome, E-Man. Thank you so much. He's someone I
yeah,
met.
exactly. It's okay if it falls off because he just grows another one anyway. But I gotta
Yeah.
get him. I gotta put something so I don't lose it. I don't want to lose it. And then like I got into the pop toys. This is Adipose from Doctor Who. So I like Doctor Who, but I like the pop toys too. And so like I had a whole bunch of these actually that I collected for a while, and some of them came out of the box, some of them didn't. So it's almost like I'm kind of all over the place. I don't have a set like I like it, I buy it, and sometimes they come out like this little guy. I even have a crocheted one somebody made of me of the Adipose that looks just like this.
Yes. So, oops. Let me do this. So with
So I
that,
brought random stuff. So if, in
Right.
case we get back to me, then I'll tell you more about the randomness of my collection.
all right. So, Harold, is there any type of stuff that when you see it, it's a figure of a genre that you have to get? Is it something that stands out to you for your own and your collectability?
Usually anything robots or monsters, if it's like a especially oh crap. Sorry, I got my the Chromebook sitting on top of my keyboard.
Awesome.
But usually the horror figures I've got are like monsters from my childhood. Like, of course, you got Jason, and you got Michael and Freddy, and stuff I
The
grew
twin-
up watching.
The twins from
Oh yeah, the
from,
Grady
The
twins.
Shining. Yeah,
Yes,
The Shining.
come play with us, Danny.
Uh,
But yeah,
Red Rum.
Red. But yeah, anything that's a robot that I can, whether it's an actual functioning robot or even just something where you push the button and it makes noise or whatever. I think robots are one of my it's one thing that's constant in everything that I like, whether it's video games, case in point, Happy Mario Day,
Nice.
or whether it's in Japanese anime, you got robots in there, whether it's again video games, just about every science fiction or whatever, there's always robots. And now it's pretty much, instead of science fiction, it's become science reality, science,
That's true.
whatever you want to call it. I think my
And we have this with the trees that are
One of the things that and I have a whole case of things that we'll be talking about too because of pricing and collectability, but being an adult collector, and either one of y'all can answer this however you want to. Being an adult collector, what made it that you brought things over from what you liked as a child
Right.
to as an adult? But I think we have a question. Give me a second. Quentin says, I began collecting movies and TV shows on DVD because I hated commercials. Absolutely, I did the same
Yeah.
thing. Action figures, Transformer toys being collected to reacquire the toys from who I grew up with. You hit the head. That's where I was going with this question for them: is what made you, from a child to now an adult, go, huh? I want to keep buying this toy. Let's say we're all Star Wars fans, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I know that we pretty much all have Star Wars in our collection. I
Of
could pretty
course.
much bet money on that. What made it where you went from being a kid and having Star Wars toys to then being an adult? And do you remember when Star Wars toys came back out on the shelf? And what made it that you picked one
What
up?
can I get them to give me for this, and this? And she was saying,
uh,
I was telling her about,
Nikki or me first?
Either one. Since you spoke up first, I'm gonna let you answer first, and then I'll grab Nikki.
Well, for me, it was, it's kind of in my blood because my dad, he was a collector,
Okay.
and he'd always. I remember one time when he was buying different figures in the store, like even the Batman Forever figures. That was big at the time, or I wouldn't say it was big at the time, but it was like the new Batman.
Right.
And I'm like, "You buying that for me, Dad?" He's like, "No, son, that's for me." I'm like, "For you?" I said, "Dad, you're not." I said, "Why is that for you? You're not a kid anymore. You don't play with toys. Why are you buying that for you?" He, and later on, he was would try to teach me about keeping stuff in boxes. He'd he'd keep stuff in boxes, never open them, and his way of thinking was it might be worth some value.
Right.
So that was I mean, some stuff I'll still open up, but like my
Understand.
robots or whatever. Uh-oh.
And so that's interesting. It was your dad essentially buying something for himself that you kind of recognized that, hey, wait a second, adults like toys, and there may be, some value for those things later on in life. So
Mhm.
kind of like, I guess, the kind of instilled in you going, okay, toys have um a more of a function than just I get to open it up, play with it, and do whatever I want with it. But my dad likes it, so that's the character he likes. But he's going to keep it in the box because it might go up in value. That's a very cool way, because that's a little bit different how mine came about, but not too different. So Nikki,
He
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
Well, I mean, he was like one of the few that I remember growing up that was like that. I had say for my grandfather, for example, he was more, you're this old, you don't, you need to get out of the action figure stuff and,
Right,
be
and
more
I think
grown
we
up. And my dad, even though he was buying these figures and stuff, it was more for collection purposes
yeah,
and
and I
stuff
think
like
we
that.
all I think we all had uh some adult in our life that probably said something to us about needing to grow up, and we'll talk about that side of things too in a bit, but because it goes along with the whole thing about why I still collect. But Nikki, what was it that got you where you said, huh, I want this, and then it carried over to in your adulthood?
Um, I collected books. I read a bunch, like a bunch when I was growing up. I had
Yes.
at one point I had to make a list so I wouldn't reread the same books by accident because I was a very prolific reader and I had this one book series. It was Sweet Valley High. I just liked the stories; they were really cute, and I like that they continue on. It'd be like I mean, I didn't collect comics back in the day, so it would be similar to that. I had one through 200 and whatever, and I kept those, and I had the option. Mom would trade her books back and forth. I had the option of letting them go, but I didn't, so that was probably my first collection. I did have a lot of toys growing up. We were not very poor. I had a lot of toys made for me.
Yeah, Nikki's family was very poor. She had do you want to share why? Because you're a twin, you have a twin brother, but
I have
you
a twin
also have
brother. I had cancer when I was 4, so that was expensive. And then my brother had spina bifida. That was expensive. My mom had to quit her job to take care of my little brother. And so then we were just on dad's income. And so what toys we got were shared, passed down, usually given as Christmas gifts. If there's something expensive we really wanted, then we'd ask my grandparents for it and they'd get it for us. But they didn't go crazy, so we didn't have a lot of stuff. But
you didn't get a lot of girl toys because you had boy cousins and you had boy brothers, so
Yeah.
you kind of got overlooked when it came.
But they made me things. They made me like dresses, and they made me dolls, and they and I was more of a tomboy. I climbed trees and I dug ditches. So I mean, I didn't have a lot of toys, but the ones I have I really liked. You know what I'm saying? I did have some girl toys per se, but they were like little ones. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I brought some out here with me. Like, this is not my original Care Bear, but like I wouldn't have got the big one. I would have got the little hard plastic one. Derek got this one for me when they first started coming out again. And these are more the traditional ones, actually. The new ones have bigger, brighter symbols and stuff. Oh, what's up, Derek? Legend of Mobile Legends.
The Forge Live 2025, that you need to check that out. Great guys. Love to have it.
They have a show on Sundays at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Thank you, baby. And says, I just want to make sure we got some of the comments real quick. Many of the toys I used to have when I was a kid, been searching for, are now way out of my. That's what we're going to talk about. Something about too. Also, is about affordability. But go ahead.
And sometimes sometimes it's not about what you can afford, but it's about what you don't have to have 50 of the same thing. I know a lot of us do, but sometimes and I tell Derek, I was like, what don't you have? You may have 50, Optimus Primes, but maybe you don't have the one Rodimus or something. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's about making correct decisions based on your budget. And I think that's something to come up with. You can still collect, you just may collect differently,
and that's what I thought we would bring up. I'm glad you pointed that out. That is something.
I was gonna say, I've been making cat toys for my little kitten. I see something. So when they see something that they like, I don't just have to go purchase it, because sometimes you can spend $10 on a cat toy. So this one's just full of fluff, and I crochet it, and I throw catnip in there, and I do like this, and they're like, "Oh my god, I love it!" And they like the boxes that things came in, and they like the paper that things come in. So like, even your children like getting that. You may buy the refrigerator, but they want the box. So
Hold on a second, guys.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
sometimes it's about the toys, and sometimes it's about enjoyability too.
And that's where I want to go to. So one thing I want to talk about is, like, for you, toy collecting pretty much came when you and I got together, just like comic books. And so a lot of toys that I found out that Nikki didn't get as a kid, I did what I could to find. Like, I got her a Starbright, and her little fluffy people, and we got some stuff. But then I found out that Nikki loved Transformers as much as I did. And so when I found out that, because when I had my toys, and Nikki's like, I did not know they made that. And, I always wondered if they had made that. And then I would bring out my old toys from my childhood, because I was very lucky. My mom had learned very early through me collecting comic books that stuff like that would and could become collectability, and that they could go up in price. And the way that happened for me was one day I wanted to be able to do something and purchase something, and I was dating the girl at the time, and my mom was like, "Well, if you're going to do that, you're going to need to come up with the money yourself." And I didn't have enough money, and so I had asked if I could go to the comic book store, and I had a comic book, and I kept up with the pricing of comics. I knew how much they were, and I remember going in there, and I remember selling the comic back to the guy, and he was like, "Oh my God, you have this issue?" And I was like, "I do." And he's like, "You want to sell it?" And at that time, you're dating, you're got that puppy love, you think it's the be all end all, it's going to be the greatest thing since sliced
Mhm.
bread. And I sold the comic book, came out with all this money in cash, and my mom was like, did you just rob them?" And I was like, "No, why do you have that much money? You didn't go in there with that money." I was like, "No, that comic book I had, I sold it." And my mom was like, "Wait, that comic book that you bought for 75 cents, you're now leaving the store with $75. That was a lot of money back then."
That is a lot of money.
And my mom was like, "Wait a second, you're not selling any more of your comics." And my mom and her, and the one thing I can say positive about my childhood is my mom recognized, wait a second, this is a collectible thing. He doesn't need to be selling this now. And so my mom had this policy that if I wanted to do something, I had to sell it to her. Not knowing as an adult, she was going to keep them and give them all back to me. So that's something positive I can say about my mom that she did. But now I want to go into the things. So that kind of brought me with comics and toys, kind of brought me into the adult collecting. Um, One thing that we've all kind of talked about is like the one thing for me that stood out for toy wise is actually something that I share at the end of every video I do. A lot of people have asked, "Where did you come up with your ending? Why do you say that?" Well, my grandfather, which was my mom's father, had a big he was a big role model in my life. He taught me how to work with my hands, how to build things, how to work on engines, how to do all this stuff, and how to build a house and everything. So with that, my my grandfather one day, um, he had a basket full of toys, and come to find out that these toys was my uncle, his toys, my mom's toys that my grandfather had just kept, and kept them all in a basket. When I was there, I had a original GI Joe, the 12-inch with the hair, the real beard, the green fatigues. And my grandfather said, "This is your uncle's, and I've kept this because of him. And this is your mom," and it was the original Barbie doll.
Mhm.
And he had kept it. And then he took me into the closet that you didn't go into, which was Papa's personal closet with all his best hats, his best shoes, his best. My grandfather would dress up to the T. He's very much a Southern man. Um, and he took me in
He
there, and
always
he
looked
pulls,
really nice.
yes, and he pulls out this box, a wooden box. And inside that wooden box was a very old gun, and it was a toy gun. And he pulls it out, and he said, "This right here is why I held on to that toy of your uncle's and your aunt and your mom, and this is mine." And he says, "You want to know why I have this?" I was like, kind of like taken back. I was like, "No." And he was like, "Because if you have something from your childhood, you will never grow old." And he and my grandfather was religious. I am too. But he also equated it with a scripture that said, "Come to me as a child, have the faith
Mhm.
as a child." And so with that, that resonated with me because this is a very man, worked with his hands. He was a lot. He owned his own logging company, and I did that when I was a kid, and he owned a lot of apartment buildings and a lot of buildings that he rented out. And I always helped him mow the grass, or I helped go and do the electrical work if something needed to be done. But that resonated with me because it was like, well, Pawpaw has that from his childhood. So I did the same thing. And what I ended up doing is I ended up going home, grabbing my favorite toys of the time, and I wrapped them up in toilet paper to protect them. I put them in a box, and I had them with me even when I was homeless. They've always gone with me, and I always kept those. And at the hard time, I would open it up and go, look, life's going to get better. Keep having imagination, keep thinking. So, becoming an adult, it was not hard for me to keep buying action figures. Star Wars was actually what I really got back into buying action force full throttle when it came to Star Wars. Star Wars had Kenner had come out with these new Star Wars figures that everybody looked like they were on steroids. And I absolutely hated the way they looked, but I still got them. But then you had a Phantom Menace come out. And I remember buying every figure that came out from that movie because it's the first time Star Wars was going to have anything brand new. But with that, that's when I realized that there's a toy market that for collectability and for being in for memory to go as an adult, trying to recapture that instance again, and having that figure for the first time and opening it up and enjoying it. But I started noticing something in the toy industry that started to change. And sometimes I think it was for the best, but sometimes I think it was also for the worst. And here's where I'm going with this, guys. I'm going to show off some figures in just a second, but adult collecting, I think, has hurt the toy market. And the reason why I think that the adult collecting has hurt the toy market is companies don't have to try to capture a child's imagination. Now, we'll blame our little Black Mirrors all we want. We'll blame that if we want to. We can say, oh, it's because kids rather look at their phones and not look at um, a toy. They don't want to get a toy. They don't want to look at a toy. They don't want to play with a toy. But that's not the truth. Because what's happened is that when we were growing up, we remember G.I. Joe. We remember Transformers, GoBots, if you like the GoBots.
Mhm.
You also had the
Micro
Silverhawks,
Machines,
Micro
Z-Bots.
Machines, the Z-Bots. You had, we also had, oh, my brain had mine apart. G.I. Joe,
Sorry
Transformers,
about
My
that.
Little Pony, Care Bears, the Smurfs, Ghostbusters at that time, also, like Thundercats,
He-Man.
Silverhawks. Which one?
He-Man.
He-Man. So for us growing up, there was a cartoon that was designed as a 30-minute commercial. And it was a cartoon in that 30 minutes, that Saturday morning block, that you had to get up early in the morning so you could see all your cartoons. And then you had cartoons in the afternoon when you got off from school. There was a block set for your cartoons in the afternoon. And so, we were inundated with action packed cartoons. And in
Yes.
that, created an action-packed adventure in our imagination, and we wanted to buy the toys. Now,
Mhm.
were toys expensive when we were growing up? I kind of went back and was looking at some of the old pricing of toys. To
I
get,
mean, obviously, my family felt like they were kind of expensive. Like if we got toys, it was off brand. I want to
Mhm.
say we might have had a couple of GoBots, or we might have had some Hot Wheels. I remember getting like a couple of those things, but we really didn't have a lot of toys at our house. We had some.
that's
At
right.
at the
Thank
time,
you.
though, at the
Yeah,
time
my
they were
little friend.
probably considered. Oh, I'm sorry. You were reading the
No,
thing.
it's he was saying My Little Pony and Polly Pocket. That's right, Polly Pocket, and they had magnets that had to be recalled
Mighty
because
Max.
yeah. Um, now, what were you going to say, Harold?
uh, I was saying, I guess at the time, for the time, they were considered expensive. Not like they are now,
Right.
but for their time, that was, I guess, kind of expensive. But again, you look at the stuff nowadays, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah. And back in the day, more kids had He-Man and G.I. Joe in their collection because He-Man and G.I. Joe were the cheapest toys parents could buy. So
Hmm.
I'm going to show this off. Now, this is something from Super 7. This is from the G.I. Joe line. Nikki got this for me. It was a San Diego Comic Con exclusive, but it's considered an O-ring, which is an actual exact same duplicate of how he looked when we were kids. And then it has nice little artwork on the back. This figure, if I got this back in 1983, usually ran about $1.70 to $2 a figure. So G.I. Joe and He-Man were between the $2, $3 mark. All right. So now this figure that I get from Super 7 is a $20 figure. So from 83 to now, the same type of figure, we're now looking at a huge price increase. Now, the other thing too is that He-Man was very much really available. So you have a He-Man figure. Now, this is a modern He-Man figure because it has more articulation. The He-Man figures typically look like this, exactly the same type of body mold, everything. Only difference is it had a thing in the hilt that would give it a power punch because the spring was there. And then you had a black rubber band that did between the legs. And there was no movements in the elbows or in the knees or the feet. They were just stationary. They were just, straightforward, up, back, down, out, and stuff like that. So this guy here would cost you about $3.50. All right. When I got this guy here, he was $15. So again, same style figure, same style. This one has more articulation now, but you're now at a $15 price point. Matter of fact, this figure here is better priced than some of the figures I'm going to be pulling up in just a second. But I remember when I started collecting and I started getting the X-Men because I love the X-Men, Gambit, Rogue, Wolverine, Cable. And then I remember getting X-Man, which was Nate Summers from the Age of Apocalypse, and where he did not have the cybernetic arm. And I remember going into my toy store, which was KB Toys, and I remember paying $11 for X-Men, Nate Summers, and I was able to get Onslaught for the same price. So, and that was in 96, 97. Yeah, 97, 98 is when I ended up getting those figures. So they were around $10. And it was the first time you then had elbows and you had knee joints. So then they had introduced more articulation during that time. G.I. Joe at the time had the most articulation in the 80s than any toy on the market for boy toys. The most articulation. It had a bicep rotation, it had a 90-degree elbow, it had a 90-degree knees, legs could do the split. You had a rubber band in the middle so you could get him to move around really easy. Arms went all the way around, head went back here, and then they introduced this ball joint head. So then the head could go up and down and move it around even more. So G.I. Joe had the most articulation. So right there, at the time, it's not articulation that's costing the most money for the toy. So when I was looking to talk about the show tonight, I was like, okay, as a collector, I want to now show y'all figures. Now we're going to talk about them. And these figures, now this figure here is a $10 figure from Transformers. Now, Transformers as a kid was the most expensive toys on the market. My family could only afford the mini bots. So, with that being the most expensive toy on the market, that was going to run you between $5 to $6 a little figure for a little Transformer. So, in the $10 range today, this is the Transformer you get for $10. Doesn't have any elbow joints, but you do have stuff in the arms, the legs, and you do have a knee bend, and he still transforms into a truck. But then you get into the adult collection, and this thing has all the articulation, elbow joints, hand movements, legs kick up and down. You got a thigh rotation. You got it where you can break the leg off of it if you're not careful. So, now this figure is going to cost you $27 now, but it's the same size as a $10 figure. So this is where we're going from here, and then you go for this price here, $27. You pay the same price now to get a 6-inch Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Mhm.
so still same price point. This has everything you would want: thigh rotation, knee bends, ankle tiltage, foot moves down the bottom, everything you would want. You get extra heads. Now G.I. Joe, I'm on the same lines, same size. It's still $27. So these right here, you're getting, I feel, more value in these two guys over this guy here.
Mm-hmm.
But then
Mhm.
you're going, okay, well, we're told that the reason why prices are so high is because of the articulation and the paint outs and everything like that. So you would think that if that's the case, that an independent creator that created a 6-inch figure, his Action Force comes from Valorverse. He comes out with the exact same body mold, articulation, and yet he's selling this one for $27. So he's an independent guy, so he has less units being made per figure. And so, but yet he's able to give you it for that price point. Now, there are adult collectors that get up even higher. And then these two here, one's from the Four Horsemen, which is this guy here with all the nice little paint outs and everything like that. This figure here is going to run you over $40, $45, almost 50. Same thing with this group here. And it's got all the paint out and all the stuff. But these guys make a lot less of a print run on how many figures they make. So right there, you're seeing that, okay, well, the price is going up there. But then, in that same price point, you get third party. This is Cosmo, third party. All the articulation, clean transformation, nice colors, nice paint outs, but it's third party, so it's not going to have as much print run. And then you have this guy here, which is from Joe Toys, and this is Warhammer. All the articulation, all the paying out, some of the best figures. Now, the thing is that it's only a 4-inch figure. It's not a 6-inch figure. This guy's going to run you $30 to $35. Make my screen less big. But all the articulation that you would want. Now, a question that I have about adult collecting, and then I forgot about this one. This is a $10 Transformer. This is the company that Nikki has got us into, which is the Blokies. But I can buy a whole box Blokies for $60, and I get 9 different figures in it. I got to put them together, but that's part of the fun. But typically, we saw these at Walmart. What, $8 at Walmart?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I've shown up all these.
And you can
figures.
get the
Oh,
really big Blokies for like 10.
yeah, the real big ones, and they light up
Mm-hmm.
and have some sound. And this is the company Nikki also picked out. And this is also from a independent company. This is from Spiro Toys, and
Mm-hmm.
this is Animal Kingdom. And it has all the same articulation as these guys here. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is you see that the 6-inch figures from all, from 3 companies are the same price point. Then you get into a higher price point when it comes to the 4 Horsemen and Savage Crucible. Hey, I remembered Savage Crucible. They're going to run you $50. Now they have a lot more paint out and stuff like that. The price depends on the number of parts that the figure or toy is made or comes with. It used to be, Quentin. It really did. It used to be, how many hands do you get? How many extra hits do you get? How many weapons do you get in the pack? And that usually meant that if you got a lot of accessories, then your price was going to be higher. But Hasbro has kind of destroyed that scenario by giving, where their earlier figures had extra hands, extra heads, extra weapons, and their newer figures have less that, but the price has gone up and you get less. The thing that I'm looking at is that I'm hearing a lot of people saying that the price now is killing them because all the prices are going up, because at one time 6-inch figures were the most expensive toy on the market because they were usually 6 inches, all the articulation, and they usually ran about 20 bucks. I forgot one more. Todd McFarlane, who gave you all the paint apps and all the articulation for 24. And he still has, but even he's going up on his toy prices. So the question is, though, as adult collectors, have we created the greed? Have we sat here and been so adamant about getting a figure that looks just like the character that we had as a kid? Have we now created this thing where the companies no longer worry about trying to create toys for kids like they did when we were growing up, and creating a cartoon to get those kids to be engaged in? Are we the ones that's created a scenario that the companies are now focused on the adult collector because they know that we're going to buy the figures no matter what? And
I
is that
guess
a good business
Sure.
point? Go ahead.
I guess in a way we kind of have, because I mean we've let these companies play on our nostalgia. Oh, I had this Transformer or this He-Man figure when I was a kid, and then we buy it and they know that even though they jack the price up, and we still keep a lot of us keep plopping our money down,
Yeah.
knowing that now they're just taking advantage of us. But it's like, have we reached the point of where we don't care that we're being took advantage of as adult collectors?
And that's where I'm going. That's what I'm wondering is that, a conversation that Nikki and I have is Nikki's always looking saying, "Hey, do you have that in your collection?" We actually have like a new little rule that there's no need to buy another Optimus Prime. There's no need to buy another Bumblebee. There's no need to buy another um, Transformer figure that we already have 5 of. You know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
and that made us branch out to these other companies, such as Valorverse, branch out to Spiro Toys, which is the Animal Kingdom. But one thing that I noticed lately, and especially talking to a lot of people in the GI Joe community now, a lot of them, you know, we got away from GI Joe because we felt like the quality for the figures were not good. And then I got a Storm Shadow. It was a Storm Shadow that, and the only reason why I bought it is because I remember having that Storm Shadow when I was a kid, and I saw that they had a 6-inch figure Storm Shadow, and so I bought it, and I was amazed by the quality of the figure had gone up a notch. Now, not all GI Joe figures are absolutely great; they're not, but because of it, Nikki noticed something. She noticed how much I was enjoying it, and she was like, "I know you love Transformers. I love Transformers, but how about we branch out and try out these other companies that we've seen?" And Nikki ordered the first box, which was from Valorverse. We got these figures in, and I was absolutely blown away by the craftsmanship, the quality, the engineering, the playability. And then I was like, how much was those? Like $50? And Nikki was like, oh no, no. They were the same price as your GI Joes. And I was like, oh wow, they come with all these hands and all these guns and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
head sculpts. I mean, it was like that little box had at least 30 something items in it. It was like overwhelming. And then Nikki got in these figures here, and I like these figures a lot. It takes me back to that kind of like as a brand new lore, which I've been wanting companies to do, is create their own lore, create their own books, create their own stuff. And this company here has, and they did it in 6-inch figures, and I was like, wow. So we actually got their Kickstarter figures, which was surprising. Their Kickstarter figures was actually the same size as the Joy Toys. They were Joy Toys. They were 4-inch tall. And but then when they actually came out with the line, they came out with the 6-inch figures to go along with your GI Joe and stuff like that. And so the 6-inch figures kind of been the sweet spot. A lot of people, including myself, were mad at Tommy Farley for making his 7 inches because it was just too much. Made the figures too big, and you couldn't have them interact with each other that well. But looking at this, do you think us adult collectors, we are the ones that's going to be killing the hobby?
Well, I was going to mention previously is that we are focusing on the toys that are out in the 80s that we have that that we grew up with, and then as adults we see these characters and we want them again in our collection. But there's also other toys out there, like I know Paw Patrol is really popular.
Okay.
There's some other, since we don't have kids that age and I don't teach that age anymore, I don't have my hand on what they're watching right now. But I don't know how much those toys cost. Like, I don't have an equivalent. I know those big fluffy Squishmallows were really popular, and depending on the price, you can get them from between $10 to $20, which is not beyond what a stuffed animal should cost right now, because things are a little more expensive than they used to be. Usually, if you had a $10 stuffed animal, that was pretty expensive, you know. But nowadays, a $10, $20 stuffed animal, it's kind of reasonable. So I think that as adult collectors, we are changing the market for kids that want to buy G.I. Joe, He-Man, Transformers, because all of us are like, ooh, we want this, we want that, we want good quality, we want it in 5 different sizes, and we want it in 3 different head sculpts. So we're making it hard. But then again, you know, you go to like Dollar General and they have a line of Transformers that you can buy from between $6 to $10, and those are really nice too. You know, so I think a lot more study. I mean, if you really wanted to get down to, are we messing up the whole thing? And it's really, it's us, but it's also, is the companies paying attention good enough to marketing things for the adults? Because that's probably where a large amount of their money is coming, you know, circulating through. But are they doing a good enough job marketing to the younger generation? So all of a sudden, when we get old and we dry up and we stop collecting, they don't have pigeonholed themselves into this market that's not going to be there anymore. So
that's why, you know, Carl, I mean, when it comes to G.I. Joe, I don't see this figure here, even though I think if a kid saw it, would be like, oh my God, that looks awesome. I'll make my screen bigger. Because of how he looks, the Gatling gun, you know, the head sculpt, everything you see with this figure, you're like, oh my God, that looks so awesome. But the problem that I go is that, you know, this is geared towards one audience and one group of people, and you're not having this figure being made and mass produced for kids. I mean, think about the toys that we had coming up as a kid. We had stuff that was known as the Inhumanoids. We had Lone Star. We had Silverhawks, Thundercats, He-Man. You
Ninja
had
Turtles,
Ninja Turtles. You had the biker
Biker Mice from Mars. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we had
My Little Pony, Rainbow Bright, Jim and the Holograms.
Oh God, that's
Care
one I ain't heard of in a
Bears.
long time.
Yeah.
Jim and the Holograms.
I dressed up as Jim for Halloween a while back, and nobody knew who I was, but that's okay. I knew who I was.
I knew you
I knew you knew who I was.
I heard there was supposed to be a movie coming out of that.
There was. It didn't do too well.
Oh.
One thing that I saw, all we forgot about Mask.
Yeah.
You know, now one thing I did see is something that Nikki and I noticed is that right now Skybound is coming out with a lot of Hasbro product. They got the Transformers, Void Rivals, G.I. Joe, got Mask is coming out later this year, and a lot of people old timers like me are all excited about it. But the thing that I'm wondering, and a lot. If you don't know this, there is a live action. Not a cartoon coming out, which will be on Amazon Prime, which will be Transformers, but it'll have GI Joe, Mask, all these characters that we liked as the '80s. Um, Nobody's supposed to talk about the Joe movie. That needs to be forgotten. That's hilarious. I agree. That movie needed to be forgotten. That was a horrible movie. That was
Horrible
not Jim.
adaptation of it.
Oh God, it was so bad. It didn't follow along anything that made Jim so special either. Um, but when you see toy prices going up, and you're seeing and you're not seeing that many toys being made for kids, and you're not seeing that many cartoons coming out, like I don't understand why there's not a GI Joe cartoon right now. I think it would be this is a good opportunity to have a cartoon. I think there should be another. I know there's a little type of cartoon coming on YouTube for Transformers, which deals with this toy line here. But you have the toy line in the store, and I don't know why it doesn't have on the toy saying, "Hey, watch this episode on YouTube." I feel like they're just the toy companies have forgotten about the kids. I think, and in doing so, I think that's going to because we're not going to be around forever.
No.
And what breaks my heart is that in the future, there may not be another GI Joe in another 20 years, unless they do something different, like make a video game. One thing I didn't understand is like, why haven't you allowed, Fortnite or Call of Duty, make skins for the characters?
Yeah,
You
Fortnite
know,
or Call of Duty would do good as a like with a GI Joe crossover. I mean,
yeah, I mean, you have Call of Duty did what I think was stupid, but he got it out there. The Ninja Turtles had a crossover with Call of Duty, and you have a Ninja
They
Turtle
did?
skin. And they did, and it was stupidest thing I ever saw in my life.
Mm.
But people bought it. People did it, and I've looked at it and going, why don't you have right now while the iron is hot? You've got these comic books coming out, which are selling some of the best sells in comics right now. Is coming out from Skybound with the Energon universe. Why are you not going to a company like Fortnite and saying, "Hey, here's 3 of our characters. Will you let them be a skin in your in your thing like you do with everything else?" Because they do collabs with everyone else. I think Hasbro should be sitting there, and then kids would be like, "Oh, what's that character? Who is this?" And then be like, "Oh, I saw this. I saw that GI Joe's on the shelf at Walmart or Target." And then they go in, they buy that figure because they now have the game has enticed them enough to go and buy the action figure off the shelf. Because back in the day, cartoons were only for kids as an advertisement for your parents to be like, "Oh my God, I gotta buy this toy now because my kid's going nuts over it." But if you got like, why are you not doing that with Call of Duty? Why are you not doing that with Fortnite? Why are you not doing that with
utilizing the new media that's out there right now,
or make a
all the
mobile
tools
app?
all the tools out their fingertips, and yet they're letting it slip through their fingers. I mean,
Yeah.
about the best way to put it.
Here's something. It says Transportation just came out. It's Crosser Cyber versus Transformers and a Chinese show called. Okay. So
Netsa.
I'll have to look that because you got the Transformers right now that's doing that cyber, I think it's Cyber World. But yeah, that I don't see why if your audience and you want to keep your property alive, then you as that company need to start reaching out. Because here's the thing that I noticed about Action Force. One thing that when I started getting into his company, Bobby is the owner and the creator of Action Force. One thing I can say that I liked about him is that he does a live stream every Sunday, Saturday night at I think it's C3PO or podcast.
3POA
Thank you.
podcast.
Podcast.
And it was a podcast this other guy started, but asked Bobby if he wanted to be a part of. And so they talk about a lot of different things, but they also talk about the new lines and stuff that Bobby's been working on too. So it's kind of a combo of both.
Yeah. But in that podcast, you get to meet the creator of Action Force, and he answers your questions for you. And with that, makes it where you as the customer now have this opportunity to meet someone that's the creator of something. And when you get that figure and he goes to shows and you have that figure, you can go there and say, hey, I want to let you know how much I love this guy. This is such a excellent and awesome figure. And I'm not understand why in the 80s Hasbro recognized that they needed to do this. One thing I think Mattel, and that's what I don't have because I don't have any the new Masters of the Universe, and we'll talk about that when it comes out. But Mattel's doing something. You got one of your wrestling figures, Nikki?
I do.
Let's show that off real quick while I get into this. So let's talk about her real quick. And
sorry, it's not bright enough right here. Let's see if I can. There we go.
Tell us about this figure and where you got it, why you got it, and the price point.
Well, I wasn't gonna get it because I would be okay with getting a less expensive one. They're doing different price tiers for the wrestling figures, so you get one that has just like basic stuff. It's just the figure essentially, and then and this is what Derek told me because I don't know if there's a medium one, but this is the high end one that came with like extra hands, and she's got her Money in the Bank briefcase / purse and a different head on there. And it's a really nice box too. I think we paid 30-ish for this one. Yeah. And I haven't seen a Tiffany one, and I really like her, so I definitely wanted to get this one. So he talked me into getting this particular one, even though I would have picked the one that was less expensive too, though.
There's the $10 figure.
Got really nice imaging. It's nice and glossy. The character looks like the human, so that's why I went ahead and got this one.
And so there is a $10 figure, which is your basic figure, and then you have a $20 to $24, and that will have a little bit like extra hands or something like that. And then you have the ultimate, which is what Nikki has, and that is the be-all collectible collector box one. And so Mattel is going to be doing the same thing with their He-Man line that's going to be coming out. They're restarting the whole He-Man line. I've already got to see Scareglow, and I got to see a couple of the other characters that's coming out for that line, and I'm all in. And I told Nick, it's like, look, our collectability is going to be flipping a 180. I will not be buying as many Transformers like I do, even though I love Transformers. I'll be focusing on this new He-Man line because one, the characters look so good, everything pops. And that's where we're going to talk about the kid side of it. But it has everything that I want. But Mattel's coming out with a $10 line, a $24 line, and then a $34 line. And the $34 line will give you cloth and fur. If the character comes with a cloth or fur or a fabric type material will come with the character. extra hands, extra heads, extra weapons, and if it's a character that's in a movie or on wrestling, it will automatically pop. Same thing, and then they have the $20 line, which will be more of your basic, like you would get if you bought a GI Joe. It just comes in a box with weapons and stuff like that, and then that's about it. But Mattel's looking at it from, we need to have kids buying the figures, and kids want to buy, like what Harold mentioned, what his dad got. His dad got this Batman figure, and Harold has probably looked at that and been like, that's something I would have wanted and wanted to get. And you would want to have a character or a figure that looks like what your dad has, because adult collectors, your kids are looking at your collection and going, well, I don't want to have that piece of crap that's a kid's toy. I want to have what my dad has. Mattel's kind of recognized that. They kind of been like, okay, kids going to see their dad buy this He-Man figure, and the dad's not going to want, or the dad or the mom, but the mom or the dad are not going to want to buy their child a $30 figure,
No.
so they can take it out of the box and break it.
Yeah.
So Mattel's looked at it and been like, all right, there'll be the figure for your mom or dad for their collection, but that same figure is going to be sold, just the figure by itself, no extra hands, no extra head, no weapons, just the basic, just the figure itself. You can buy it for $10.
Like, oh, you want one too, little Jimmy? Well, here you go. Here's you one too.
Yeah.
And it looks just like mine.
Yep. Exactly.
It looks just like mine, and the kid's going to be like, and so I see Mattel recognizing this, and Mattel just acquired the license to do the Ninja Turtles, and so they're doing the same. They're doing it with He-Man. I have a feeling they're going to do the same thing with the Ninja Turtles, and they're doing WWE. Now,
maybe we'll see a crossover He-Man Ninja Turtles, like a Shredder tour or something.
We already have.
Skeletor. Oh shoot! Okay, that shows how out of the loop I am.
Yeah, they came out with this whole line where they did a crossover with He-Man and the Thundercats, and they've done a crossover with He-Man and the Ninja Turtles, and they got a crossover right now with He-Man and the Transformers.
Oh.
The Ninja Turtles was such a huge hit, was why Mattel paid so much money to get the license to make the toys. And then they dumped out a lot of money to get the DC license. So they are be coming out with DC toys that will be within that same price point. They're going to come out with a $10 figure, and then they're going to come out with a $25 figure. And the $25 figure will be for collectors, and the $10 figure will be for kids. So I'm looking at it going, Mattel is clearly saying toys sell. Toys can make money. Toys are selling. So my thing is that as an adult collector, why do you think that a lot of we don't have the cartoons like we used to as kids? Why don't we have new cartoon or a mobile app? Why don't you utilize the technology like they did in the 80s? Why not use it today? Why not have a G.I. Joe mobile app? Or,
exactly. Something.
It's
Warhammer
a different
has-
world out there. Back in the day, we had 4 channels, and you knew when cartoons were on. They were on after school, they were on Saturday mornings, and you were plugged in. Now, people get to choose what they want to watch, so you don't have to watch exactly what's there. I imagine it is tough trying to figure out where you're going to display, Transformers toys, or like I said, Paw Patrol, and Paw Patrol is actually really popular too. So I know that whoever's making those is doing okay. And so, but I can't imagine there's so many outlets now. You not only have TV that still runs on a regular basis. My parents still watch TV like that. And but then there's all of us that are like Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, YouTube. I just it's just we're over bombarded with media if we want to be.
Yes.
Okay. Then, I guess the thing also that gets me is that, one thing that Marvel has done is they did the Marvel Rivals. They came out, they came out with the game. And I kind of look at that and go, all right, why not do the same thing for these other properties?
Exactly. Like a G.I. Joe Rivals or I don't know, Transformers.
Yeah. I worry that, we as adult collectors has made the toy companies lazy. Because it's like they know they have us. If they didn't, they wouldn't be raising the prices and them sitting there going, and then worrying about them raising the prices. No, they raise the prices and they know that adult collectors are still going to buy their product.
We're suckers.
We are. We're suckers for nostalgia. That's really what it is.
We're like the bad guys in the Brer Rabbit story, except if we're trying to be good, but yet they're like Brer Rabbit saying, "I fooled you again. I fooled you again."
Yes. And that's the thing that worries me as adult collectors. I look at the toys today and I like what I see coming from Mattel. I'm very worried about the stuff that I know about with Hasbro and the direction that Hasbro's been going with the toy lines stuff. I am very worried about that. Because I feel like I don't want G.I. Joe to go away and be forgotten about. And it's been around for like 70 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want Transformers to one day dry out. Now, one thing I can say about Transformers that they've been very smart about, and I don't know why they don't do it with their other properties, is the company Blockies, however you want to say it, coming out with the figures. They're coming out with Marvel and with Marvel superheroes, and they're coming out with Star Wars characters along with the Transformers. They got Pokemon. They have the Minions now. They're grabbing all these licensing and they're coming out with all this stuff. And I love knowing that they're doing it because these things are so well done. But one thing I was surprised by, and I know a lot of other guys are giving Super 7 a hard time, but Super 7 actually, I guess, has a partnership with Hasbro now. For those who don't know this, they do. They have a partnership with Hasbro. It's not just them buying the license from Hasbro. They do obtain the license, but they have a partnership with Hasbro right now, and they're making the original G.I. Joes, which I love. But they're going to be coming out with My Little Pony. They're going to come out with.
Ooh, that's cool.
They're going to come out. Yeah, they're coming with My Little Pony. They're coming out with, I think like Monsters Inc. They're coming out with Polly Pocket. They're coming out with a whole bunch of properties that Hasbro owns, and they're actually going to start making those figures. And I look at that and going, well, I hope that it not only does well for them, but maybe we'll have, Hasbro look and be like, hey, you know what? We have For the first time, we've got 2 GI Joe lines that's out right now. We got the 3 and 3, we got the 3 3/4 inch O rings, and we got the 6 inch. Well, if there's an audience big enough to house both of those properties, then maybe we should focus on that. I'm hoping. My fear is that we're going to see it go away, and if it goes away, that means that kids are going to be missing out on some really cool characters. Let's see here. Back in the day, you discovered a new toy by seeing someone at school with it. Yeah, you said show and tell. I remember show and tell where you brought your show and tell toy and you talked about when you got it. Seeing it in a Sears or JCPenney catalog. That I think that yeah. I think there's those old ways because I mean if you could get toys in a kid's hand in the 80s, that should have been the hardest era to ever get a toy in a kid's hand, or even make your because you're relying on a cartoon show. Now you have this avenue of technology that you can the I mean with technology the sky's the limit to be able to get something out there, something in their hands. I'm really hoping that we're going to see with the cartoon Transformers with GI Joe and Mask. I'm really hoping that we're going to see all of a sudden kids being really excited because let's just be honest, everybody talks about it could be too violent. Kids are falling in love with Invincible. Okay,
Mhm.
they're watching the violence. That's a violent cartoon. That was a violent comic book, and it was not intended for kids. You
No,
know,
not by a long
um,
shot. If you watch the show on Amazon Prime, it's like holy crap. I mean,
exactly, exactly, and it was definitely. Um, I mean, I collected it. I have a younger sister, 20 years younger than I am. She saw Invincible and she was like, "Oh, what superhero is that?" And I was like, "No, baby girl, you can't look at that. You're
yeah,
not old enough." And she was like, "What do you mean I'm not old? It's a superhero." I said, "Yeah, there are some superheroes out there that are for adults. There's some are for kids.
Mhm.
But let's be honest, there's not that many parents that are that pay that much attention, I should say."
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
Or they're like, oh, it's just a comic book. It's kind of
right.
like that. I'm sure this is a story that goes around because I've heard um, like GameStop type employees say, somebody will come in and be like, I'm buying GTA Grand Theft Auto for my child. And they're like, you realize this is an 18 plus game. It's going to have content in there. Oh, he
Mhm.
wants it. I'm going to buy it for him. And then he's buying hookers and hooking up with them in the back seat in the game. And mama's like, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? And so they
So
I don't
yeah,
think
and
all of them are doing that, but some of them are doing that.
but I'm hoping that they do the GI Joe and the Transformers like they are in the comics, and but do it where they're doing it tastefully, and being able to bring a new audience into them. Let's see here. Conan 3 is in production, the prequel origin. Rambo is also in production. We might see new movie figures of
Mm.
them too. That would be cool. I would love to see a Conan the Barbarian. I'm a huge Conan the Barbarian
Conan was
fan,
awesome.
right? I mean, I love it. I even have my lunchbox with Conan, metal
You remember
lunchbox.
you remember the cartoon that used to come on, Conan the
Well, yeah,
Adventurer? Man,
yeah.
that was one of those that's even though that was the
Him
movie
fighting
was
the
like a
Yeah, and him fighting the snake people and the
yeah,
whole
this
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, the thing is set. Heck
Mhm.
yeah. Um, I I just hope that one, toys don't get too expensive that us collectors can't buy anymore. Something that Nikki and I never thought that we would have to do in our collection is we actually have to prioritize what we get and what we buy.
Mm-hmm.
When I showed y'all the Warhammer figure, that those things are usually $40 to $100 a figure.
Mm-hmm.
I buy one every other month, maybe, and sometimes I don't buy one at all because they're so expensive. I wait till I can get one that's on sale, and I'll buy it so I can have it in my collection. But I am not a completist when it comes to Warhammer figures. Now for Action Force, I have been working on getting every figure that he has put out, and I have a lot of them already. I still the one can't remember his name at the moment, but he has a helmet that looks like a Spartan helmet on his head. He is the main bad guy. I can't remember his name. I have not been able to find that guy yet, but Bone Collector, I got the 100th figure box. I got that. So that is the company that I am definitely focusing a lot of my money towards. Is this? He's got a new series, a Black series coming out, which is going to be dealing with the modern time. Kind of Action Force is like a post-apocalyptic type thing where America has fallen and it's been broken up into 3 different factions. And he has another faction coming out called the Black, which will be dealing with pirates. So me and Nikki are very excited about it. We're chopping at the bit, saving our money. So as soon as it goes to pre-order, we're going to be locked in. And I'm going to be getting G.I. Joes. I've decided that I'm going to get some of the G.I. Joes, the characters that I liked as a kid, and some characters that I don't have anything that looks like that in my collection. So, as a close, where do y'all see toys in the future? Hey, let's say in the next 10 years, where do you see toys in the next 10 years?
I guess I don't know. To me, it's just one of those things that only time will tell. I mean,
Well, 10 years, I think it's going to be relatively the same. 20
All right.
years, however, I think because you and me will be 70 in 20 years. And we may be still collecting a whole bunch of things and we may not. I know there's older collectors to us in the community, and they maybe in their 60s, and in 20 more years they'll be 80. So, I mean, we're looking at possibly the dying away of that collector. Do you know what I'm saying? That time period where at that point, if companies have not done what they're supposed to and gone to the youth and put out toys like for them, whether it's Transformers or He-Man or whatever it is, if they've not diversified their population, they're going to be hit hard. So, it's not necessarily where toys are going to be, but since the companies produce the toys, it's really a time where companies are going to have to make decisions like create new properties to put out or revitalize some of the things they already have. I think what would be best for them to do both. So diversify, put out, they need to put cartoons out for new toys, because there was a really cool toy that they were putting out called Bots. I thought they were adorable. I think the problem with those actually came was how small they are, how parts. I think they could have made it like a Polly Pocket.
I think
There's a
they
couple.
also put the cartoon too. The cartoon came out way too late.
That's kind of where I was going with that. It was a great toy, but the cartoon never came out. And when it did, it was off after the toys had already come out. And so they have to stage that about the same time. So
I one thing that I see is that we do know older toy collectors. One thing me and Nikki have both seen is them getting out of the collection. Now, for some of them, it's that, you know, and the common thing is not the fact that they stopped loving the characters and stopped loving buying the toy. They said they had made a decision that this right here is the price point I'm willing to pay. And if it gets past this price point, I'm not willing to pay. And I've seen that happen to some of the older collectors that we know have quit buying toys because the prices have gone up. And that worries me. That worries me a great deal because I at first everybody was blaming the tariffs. And we're not getting political, but everybody was blaming the tariffs about price going up. That settled down. Price didn't come down. Price still went up.
Mhm.
And I think that if toy companies keep raising the prices of the product that they're making, that eventually you're going to get to a point where people can't afford the figures. And if they can't afford the figures, that'll kill the toy market. And that's where I see things going.
Mhm.
I ask anyone in the comments or anybody that watches this, let us know what you think. Please share with us your thoughts. Please leave a comment. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please also give us a thumbs up if you will, or a thumbs down if you didn't like it. We just like you to just do one or the other.
let us
Also with that,
know.
yeah, and if you want to be a guest, please just reach out to us. You can reach us at autocratprimer@gmail.com or artteacherforlife@gmail.com or Derek Davis
Or you
Art.
can reach me on Facebook at Nikki Lynn
Yes.
Single Davis.
Yes,
You
her
can send
Facebook
me a messenger. I think that's like the alternate messaging. Like, reach
and we
me that
have
way.
a Community for All of Us YouTube Facebook page
We sure
on
do.
hers. So please, by all means.
So if you're looking for the show and can't find it, you can go there, and I try to put a link there for the show so you can get to us. So.
Before we end, I'm glad that you said that. Show off your Scorponaut. Cyberwar was created to combat the tariffs. Yes. And I think they're good figures. I think these guys are awesome. For the price point of $30, Nikki was able to get that guy right there. Love him. Play with him all the time. He still makes his little noises. Squeeze his little handle in the back and he'll make his transformer noise. You see that little handle?
I do, but it's not making noise. So we take the batteries out.
Oh, I may have took the batteries out because I wanted to change
But it
it.
has a handle. I'll show you right there.
And
So
it'll
we
make
probably
the
took the
transformer
batteries
noise.
out. We don't like them to corrode inside, so we probably took them out.
And I gotta tell you, I love this guy right here. I've had so much fun playing with these guys. And they're only $10 and they're absolutely friggin' worth it. I love it. And I'll keep
Oh, and I
buying
brought
them.
a couple. I want to show a couple of my toys. You
All
can buy
right.
different toys. There's my Legos. My Legos. Those are Legos.
Oh,
Isn't that
wow.
cute?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen them. They come in boxes like this. And then you can put them. Yeah. Oh, and you know, one thing we had talked about that I brought, people were making 3D printed toys. We bought this at a show.
Yeah, I thought we would talk about that for a show by itself. When I saw you got that,
Okay.
that's why I didn't mention it. But yeah, we'll talk about
okay.
3D printing on one of the shows. I think that'd be a great thing. 3D
We
printing.
didn't say that by the fluffy ones.
That's right.
I
Oh,
told you I had a whole variety
Nikki's
just in
got a
case.
whole variety.
Just in case we didn't talk. This is Rainbow Dash. It's
He's got that
pretty.
Scorponaut too. Love it. And I love the Cyber World figures. The prices are perfect.
Oh, and this
So-
is one of the cute little figures that came out about 10 years ago. I forget what they were called, but they were like Shopkins. That's what they were. And this is like a chocolate bar. So they put faces on like all these kind of like little small object type things. I sold a bunch of these as necklaces. They came like this big, and I put a hole through them, and I sold a whole bunch of them as necklaces.
So with
I had a
that,
whole
guys,
variety of toys.
Nikki was always coming up with new ideas with the crafts and stuff with toys. But with that, guys, that is the end of the show. I hope everyone has a great week. Look for us next Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Every Tuesday, if you'd like to be a guest, please reach out to us. Don't hesitate. Until next time, my Cyber girls are the most popular. Yes, they are. They are. Mine too. And I'm planning to get some more of these. I just got Nikki Bumblebee, Alita 1, and we got Sharkbite, or
Underbite or
it's a shark. What's his name, Nikki?
oh,
My brain can't work right now.
I don't know.
So with that, that is it. Thank y'all so much. We'll see y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.